Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, we're going to take a look at MemoryDB, which is a managed version of Redis that should be really easy to use. I've never used the service before, but I've used Elasticache quite a bit, and I've used Redis quite a bit, so I think we'll be in okay shape here. Let's make our way over to MemoryDB and see what it looks like. So this is a fully managed MemoryDB. You only pay for what you use, so very similar to kind of having a serverless offering, but that is fine. So you need to have a VPC, that makes sense. Then we create a cluster, then we connect to our application. I think for this, I want to use the CLI. I'm noticing other options here like users and access control. So it seems like it has some more built-in stuff here to make our lives a lot easier. So I like that idea. But we'll go ahead and type in AWS CLI MemoryDB and see what kind of options we have here. And so we got a bunch of stuff. Let's go ahead to AWS and we'll open up our repo that we've been working in this entire time. So we can just kind of save some of these commands to save us some time if we have to circle back and do things here. And of course, we'll need to execute these commands somewhere, and I'm going to do that via git pod. So the first thing we're probably going to need to do is create a cluster. So I'll go down to examples. And so here we have a simple one. Seems like somebody took some time to write some examples. We don't always get that, you know? So we'll make a new folder here. So just say MemoryDB. And I'm just going to keep this simple because I'm not going to do any other than one video on MemoryDB. So we'll just not have subfolders for this one. And we'll paste this in here. And so we have a command for a new cluster. It says pay for what you use. Then why the heck are we choosing giant nodes here? Okay, can we go back here for a moment? Create cluster. I thought it was just pay for what you use. You pay for only what you use with no minimum fees. Are you crazy? Because we have to choose a compute size. As part of the free tier, you can get started with MemoryDB, 750 hours for a DB-T46 small instance. Okay. What does that cost? So this is kind of weird because, like, why did they have both of them? I guess this one, again, has more controls on it. 0.48 cents. It sounded serverless at first, but I guess it's not. $35, not a really great deal. Anyway, we'll go ahead and utilize this, I guess. That one is clearly not the right size. That is the free tier, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy this here. T4G, so that's using the Graviton burstable T4, so that's kind of nice. Looks like we might need an ACL and a subnet group beforehand, so this will be creating the cluster. Again, never done this before, but it seems pretty straightforward. Create cluster. Create ACL. Create subnet group. Okay. So go back over to here. We need subnet group here. Hopefully they just have examples. Yep, we do. Nice. I wonder if we get away with just having one. We'll have to read about that here. Subnet IDs. A list of VPC subnet IDs. It's not saying how many we have to have. I mean, I only want one. I'm wondering if it'll let us get away with that. We'll go over to our VPC. And I'm just going to grab that there. Oh, sorry, subnets. Getting mixed up here. So we'll select this one here. This is subnet B. This all looks fine to me. I'm fine with that. And then we need to create our ACL. What would this return? Output. Yeah, we'll worry about that in a moment. So go back here and we need to create ACL, access control list. Imagine we'll have to create users and other, yep. It just goes backwards as we go here. So then we have this one. So we'll create our ACL. And before we can do anything else, we'll have to have other stuff. But if this is an ACL, wouldn't we have to provide some access control options? No, it's just usernames. That's it. Okay. Then we'll go take a look here and provide the users. I'm just looking here if there's any other options that we have to create. Don't think so, but we'll go ahead and create a user. We'll go down to examples. That's delete user. I want create user. Okay, so now it's providing that stuff there. Create user. Okay. Enter password here. Capital T testing 1 2 3 4 5 6 exclamation mark. I'll just say Andrew Brown here. You can name this whatever you want. I'm naming this Andrew Brown. We'll go down here and we'll set this as Andrew Brown. I don't know anything about these access strings, so let's go find out what format that's supposed to be in. MemoryDB access strings. Okay, let me just quickly read this and I'll power us through it, okay? I mean, it explains it right here. It says on is for the user that is an active user. Give access to all available keys. Access is given to all pub sub channels. So this is basically for everything. I'm gonna go do that because we're keeping it simple here today. This looks like it's saying access to specific things like objects, items, and public. But that looks pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and rock and roll. Okay, so just going to type clear here. We'll hit enter. And hopefully that works. Really going slow here. There we go. And so now we have our subnet ARN. So what we could have done here is we could have said output text. And this could have been query subnet group and the ARN. I have a feeling that we're going to need this in a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. I'll worry about it in a moment. The next thing we want to do is create our user. So we'll go ahead and do that. Copy, right click. I'm not sure why this is not letting me paste here today. Right click copy, right click paste. Oh, there it goes. It was just being non-responsive for some reason. Copy, paste. Sometimes this happens. I'm going to go ahead and just reload the window. That might fix it here. Okay, I'm just going to copy this here again. There we go. We'll hit enter. Password length must be 16 to 128 characters. Wow. Okay, so testing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Hopefully that makes them happy. Okay, so we'll go ahead and copy that. Enter. There we go. So that's now created. So now we need to create our ACL. Hopefully that is easy. We'll hit enter. Create our ACL. And so now what we need is our subnet group and our ACL. So our ACL is called new ACL1. New ACL1. Some delayed input there. And our subnet group is called my subnet group. So we'll go ahead and copy that and paste that into place. And we will copy this. And we'll paste this and hit enter. At least 2 AZs with free IP addresses should be used. Would have been nice to know that sooner. So I'm going to have to go ahead and delete that subnet. I'm surprised it allowed us to make it, even though it clearly is not correct. So here, I think what we'd have to do is just do this. Whoops. Whoops, 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 whoops. Sometimes the copy paste does not work properly. Copy. comma, paste. There we go. And so we'll go back over to here into subnet groups. How I was able to make one that is not correct is beyond me, but we'll try this again. Enter. The provided input subnet IDs are invalid. Okay, well, what format do you want them to be in? Because you're not telling me a whole lot here. We'll go back over to our subnets. The command is create subnet groups. Subnet IDs here, we'll go here. A list of VPC subnet IDs. Okay, so it's just a string with a space, so no comma. Interesting. We'll try that again. Copy, paste, enter. We actually don't need the ARN, so it's kind of pointless doing that. So now we'll go back down to here and we'll try to create the cluster. We'll hit enter. Cannot create a cluster across different availability zones because there's only one availability zone with sufficient capacity. Cannot create a cluster across different availability zones. Okay, if that's the case, I guess what we could do is just create another subnet here. So this is the first one we used. This one was the default one, but we're gonna make another one 1B. So this is 127.31.32. And I'm just gonna hit up here. 172.31.00 / what was it, 24? You might say, Andrew, that one's already taken. Don't worry, give me 2 seconds, I'll fix it. I already don't even know because we are not where we think we are here. We'll go VPC. Subnets, /20. 20, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 0, 3216, 48 would be the next one. Excellent. So this is going to be my extra subnet B. Okay. And we'll create that one. And so now what we can do is go ahead and grab this one. This is not auto-assign IPv4. I'm just going to turn that on just in case I need it. So edit subnet. Not sure if we're going to need that, but we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll copy this one. And so maybe it will be more cooperative if it's using the same one. Never seen that before, but it's always a first for everything. So let's say MemoryDB. And we'll go into our subnet groups. Still not sure how it lets us create that. It's like very bad validation for these services. Must not be a very well-liked service. Okay, so we'll go ahead and copy this. We'll try this again. And paste that in there. We'll hit enter. Enter again. Looks fine to me. Maybe it just didn't copyright. We'll try this again. And we'll hit enter. There we go. So it's created it. And we'll go down here below and try this one more time. Enter. Cannot create a cluster across different AZ zones because there's only one availability zone with sufficient capacity. I thought we gave it the same AZ. Okay, let's go look at our VPC. This thing is crazy. And we'll look at subnets. And so this one is 6FF, and this one's in, oh, this one's D, because we didn't actually choose. We didn't tell it which one it had to be in. Okay, so we'll delete the subnet. And then we'll create a subnet. This time I got it. This time I have it for sure. 172.31.00 / 20. And we'll go over. It's not letting me... 172.31.00, my subnet B. And I should have chose B. Why won't this go up? That's fine. I can just write 48. It's not that hard. And we'll create this one. Yeah, what's wrong with it? Oh, this right here. Okay. And we'll create that subnet. I did not mean to open that. And so now we'll use this one, and hopefully this time it will work. And like I say this again, I really wish AWS would put validations on this, because it's means I could just do whatever, and it just is not right. We'll go ahead and paste in this new subnet that we have, assuming that I copied it. Yes, I did. Good. We'll try this again. Waiting for this to be responsive here. I'm not sure what's wrong here. I'm going to just reconnect the window. We'll go ahead and copy this. We'll type in clear. We'll say copy. We'll paste this in. We'll hit enter. Great. The subnet is groups created. We have 2 subnets in the same AZ. We'll hit enter. At least 2 availability zones with free IP addresses should be present in the subnet. They just don't explain a whole lot here. Okay, give me a second. I want to show you the instructions for creating CLI. They literally don't show all the other steps. Like, it's literally incomplete. Great. Let me just work through this, okay? All right, hold on here. It says, if you enable multi-AZ, I don't want multi-AZ. So maybe if we turn that off, then we won't have that problem. So let's go back to the cluster, and probably there is a setting that we can set here so that it's not multi-AZ. So we have this create cluster, parameter group description, number of shards, subnet group port. Let's just type in multi-AZ here. I think the only thing that would indicate that is if there's more than one shard, right? The default's 1. Okay. Let me just figure this out, okay? There's no CLI option to turn off multi-AZ, but I noticed that this doesn't have IPv4 turned on, so let's go ahead and do that, because that might be the thing that actually matters here. So we'll go ahead and turn that back on, and we'll go back over here, and we'll just hit up, and we'll try this again. It'd be really nice if it created the cluster. At least 2 AZ zones with free IP addresses should be present. And what I don't know is, does it mean like EIPs, like elastic IP addresses? Let's go into the subnet group here and see if we can find anything out. It says the subnet group that you chose supports only 1 availability zone. For high availability, use multi-AZ, modify the subnet group, or choose another subnet group. Okay. That's fine. I don't care. Let's go and take a look at our default subnets. Maybe the other one has to have auto-assign turned on. And it is turned on, so that's on. And this one is on. So what does it want? Do you know what I mean? Let me figure it out, okay? All right, so this is really strange that this is not working correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to here, and we're going to delete this. We'll leave it alone, actually, for now. But what I'm going to do is try to create a new VPC, because I just want to rule out our existing VPC as our issue. So go ahead and create a new VPC. We'll just say my MemoryDB VPC. And this will have 10.0.0.0/24. Before we do this, no, I think this is the only VPC we have, right? Just want to make sure there's not another 10.0.0 in here. There's not. Good. And I'm going to say and more. So we'll just say MemoryDB or MemoryDB here. So yeah, 10.0.0.16 is fine. I want to have 2 availability zones. I don't care about having IPv6. I just need public subnets. I don't need private subnets. I don't need NAT. I don't need VPC endpoints. We're going to enable DNS host names and DNS resolution, so that is in good shape. It kind of matters what is being used for the AZ. So 1A and 1B, that looks good to me. We'll go ahead and create this. Okay, we'll view our VPC. The thing I'm going to do is go to our subnet. And in here, I want to go ahead and refresh this here. And I want to go to these 2 and just make sure that assigning a public IPv4 address is on. I'm not sure if it needs it, but we're going to do that anyway. All right, so now those are both enabled. I'm going to go and just manually set this in our MemoryDB. So we'll go into subnet groups. I'm just going to modify this existing one. And I'm going to manage this. And it looks like we can't modify this. I'm going to just delete it. I'm just going to create it here. We'll just say my subnet group. I think it's what we've been calling it this entire time. And we'll choose our new VPC. We'll manage this. We'll choose both. Not that we're doing that, but we just only need one anyway. We'll go ahead and do this. We now have our subnet group. We're going to copy that name. We're going to go back over to here. We're going to go down here. We'll paste this in. And we'll copy this. And we'll paste this in and hit enter. There we go. Maybe you can't use the default VPC. That's what I'm thinking here, is that's what our issue is. So that is probably our thing. So don't use the default VPC. Create a VPC with subnets. Okay, so that's what we did. I'm just going to hit Q on that there. And so our cluster is probably provisioning, since it probably is an instance. We'll go over to our clusters here, and we're waiting for that to create. So I'll be back here when this is ready. Actually, while we're waiting, we could probably get our instance going. So what I'm going to do is go over to our Elasticache one. Now, we used Ubuntu for this. We'll just stick with Ubuntu because it's totally fine. And so we have this template YAML. I'm going to go ahead and just copy it. And we'll go over to our MemoryDB here, and we'll just say template.yaml. And we'll paste this content in here, and I want this deploy script. And we'll copy this. We'll say deploy, and we'll paste this in here. And we'll say deploy EC2 instance to interact with Redis. I mean, that's technically true, so EC2 for Redis. That's still fine for the name. The thing that's going to change is our VPC up here, so that's something we're going to want to do. So let's go over to... well, we'll need the subnets. I'm going to grab the first one. We only need one here. And the other thing we're going to need is the VPC. Here. We did not specify a security group, so I'm going to assume that it's going to be using the default security group for that, that VPC. Which is which one? Love it if they'd have the name here. I don't know why, like, some services or like some pages they don't show the name, but for other ones they do. FCE2. FCE2. So it's this one here. We'll grab that. We'll go all the way back here, and we'll replace this. Okay. And so this looks like it's all in good shape. I'm going to cd into this directory, MemoryDB. We'll chmod the deploy script. It's kind of mucking up on me here. And we'll deploy this. We'll make our way over to CloudFormation. I'm going to go ahead and change this and execute this. And so that's going to provision into the same VPC that we created with that. Since IPv4 is turned on, I mean, it's accessible at least that way. Not that that even matters because it's, yeah, I don't think it needs an IPv4 address, so it doesn't, like a public one, so I don't think that matters. But we'll go back over to our cluster. We'll give this a refresh. And so this is still creating, so we'll just wait for everything to be ready, okay? All right, so our cluster is ready. And so we'll go over to our EC2 instance. Last time we used this script, I wasn't 100% sure if, I mean, we did get it installed, but we had to modify this, and I actually didn't run this, so if this doesn't work, that's totally fine. We'll just have to manually install it. Let's go into our new instance here, and we'll connect to it here. And we'll see if the Redis CLI is here. So we'll say sudo su, and we're using Ubuntu in this case. Usually it's EC2, but we're doing Ubuntu. Ubuntu. There we go. Well, what I'd like to do here, just check if Redis CLI is installed. So we'll say help. Redis CLI. So it looks like it didn't install, which is fine. So we'll just run these commands one by one. Kind of annoying that I have to do that, but we'll go grab the first one. Probably what we needed here, the reason it didn't install was because we probably needed a -y on here. And so it probably hung on that first one. That's probably what happened. So we'll copy this, paste it in. We'll go to the next one. We'll paste it in. We'll go to the, yep, we'll just say, yep, overwrite it, totally fine. I mean, it looks like it must have downloaded some of these. We'll go ahead and copy the next line here. Paste that in there, enter, good. We'll go to the next one, paste that in here, good. And then we'll go ahead and install Redis. Yes, and it looks like we're just forgetting to put the -y's on these things, and that's probably why, again, it didn't finish the install. Let's give this a moment here. We'll type in Redis, Redis CLI -help. Okay, great. So we'll have to type in Redis CLI -h, and so that will be for the endpoint. So we'll copy here. It should default to 6379, so we don't necessarily need to specify that, so I'll paste that in. We're using TLS, so we'll do -TLS, or at least I think we are. Is this using TLS? Networking security. Because there's like a flag you're supposed to set for it, and I never did that on the creation. At least I don't think we did. Let's go take a look at our README here. I didn't say TLS, so does it require TLS? Yeah, right there. Okay. So we have that. We have our username is Andrew Brown, and the password is this thing here. So let's go and take a look at what those options are here. So -user for user. So -user. This one's Andrew Brown. -password. We have to spell password correctly if we want this to work. This one, oh, it's actually just pass. And we'll go here and copy this. We'll go back here. We'll paste it in. Paste, enter. Using a password with -a or -u option on the command line interface may not be safe. Okay, that's fine, but I need to, oh, we're actually connected. Okay, great. So we'll say set hello world. There we go, and it works. So we are in good shape here. So that's all we needed to do, and so we can obviously utilize this. The cluster was a little bit of a pain to set up. So let's go ahead first and tear down, because we're all done here. Let's go ahead and tear down our instance. CloudFormation, I'm trying to get to CloudFormation here. There we go, we'll delete that. And the next thing is we want to delete this cluster, so we'll go ahead and do that. We don't want a snapshot, we'll just say delete. And we'll wait for that cluster to delete, and then we will, once it's deleted, we'll go delete the other resources here, so we'll just wait for a moment. It'll probably take a bit of time to delete. It took forever for this to spin up. Be back here in a moment. All right, so our cluster is now deleted. There are some other resources we're going to have to get rid of here, like the subnet groups. We do not need that anymore, so we'll go ahead and delete that. And we will go ahead and delete our ACL. So we'll go ahead and delete that. Apparently we already have a default one in there, even though I've never used it. And then we have users. So we'll go ahead and delete that. Apparently we had a default user this entire time with the same permissions. That's fine. But yeah, there we go. So that's our cleanup. And I mean, the only other thing was the VPC. So maybe we should go ahead and clean that up as well while we're here. Hopefully it'll just let me delete it. Delete. Please just delete. Excellent. And I'll see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.